Telling Time by Katie and Lauren.
SOL 3.11. The student will tell time to the nearest minute using analog and digital clocks and determine elapsed time in 1-hour increments over a 12-hour period.
The first book of our unit would be How Do You Know What Time It Is by Robert E. Wells. The readability level is 4.8, so it would be used as a read aloud. This book will get the students thinking about the topic of time because it is about what life was like before clocks existed. This would be a great introduction to the unit.
The next book in our text set would be Hickory Dickory Dock by Keith Baker. The readability level is 1.3. This book introduces the idea of telling time to the hour. Throughout the book, animals have funny interactions every hour, and the grandfather clock portrays that hour. The students will be able to see how the hands on the clock change hour to hour in a humorous manner.
Continuing with the concept of telling time to the hour, our next book choice would be Bats Around the Clock by Kathy Appelt. The readability is 3.1 and the concept is similar to the previous book. This particular story involves bats performing a different dance every hour. This book emphasizes the idea that we will tell time using a 12-hour cycle.
The next book is Game Time by Stuart Murphy with a readability level of 2.1. We would use this book to introduce fractions of an hour. This book uses a real-world application of a soccer game to teach students about parts of an hour. It breaks up the soccer game into 4 15-minute quarters and teaches students how each quarter of a 60-minute hour is 15 minutes.
An activity that the students can use to practice reading the time on a clock is called Bang on Time. This game requires the students to read a time written out in words and then stop the moving hands of a clock when it reaches the correct time. This game helps the students make a connection between time written out in words and how that time is displayed on a clock. It also helps them practice telling time not only by the hour, but also to the minute.
Next in our text set would be the book It's About Time by Stuart Murphy. This book has a reading level of K.9. We would use this book to continue teaching students to tell time to the minute. This book follows a little boy through his daily routine and keeps track of the time of his various daily activities. This book could be an introduction for an activity that involves the students keeping track of their day-to-day schedules and the times they complete tasks.
We would then introduce the idea of digital and analog clocks by using the book Telling Time: How to Tell Time on Digital and Analog Clocks by Jules Older. This book has a readability level of 3.2. This book covers many different aspects of time and focuses on the relationships between various units of time from seconds to minutes to hours. The book explains these concepts using both analog and digital clocks.
To teach the connection between digital and analog clocks, we would use the online activity, What Time Is It? This game has students read the time on an analog clock and then choose a digital clock that has a corresponding time. This activity allows students to practice seeing the same time represented in different ways.
In order to introduce the next aspect of SOL 3.11, elapsed time, we will use a video found on BrainPop. This video focuses on the idea of elapsed time and how it is applicable to our day-to-day lives. This video is beneficial because it can help students make connections to their own lives.
The next book to introduce to the class is What Time Is It, Mr. Crocodile? By Judy Sierra. This book has a readability level of 2.7. The story goes through the day with Mr. Crocodile as he follows a schedule for his busy day. Each illustration includes a clock with a time corresponding to the planned time on his schedule, but the pesky monkeys make him late. The concept of elapsed time is focused on in this book because he needs to adjust his times based on the number of minutes he has been delayed.
This concludes our text set, and we think that using these various books and resources will help the students better understand the concept of time.